What is up, everybody? DanDanTheFireman here. What we're going to be doing is going over this near miss. This is going to be a very good swerve to dodge a hazard, but let's go ahead and talk about the hazard perception, because we can actually assume and anticipate this car wanting to pull out. All right, so we're going to be going into this more congested area. Okay, we see vehicles applying the brakes in the right-hand lane, and we also see that white vehicle wanting to come out. That's going to be the vehicle that is going to come out and almost hit us. But right now, all we can tell is that there are a bunch of brake lights. Also, take a look at where the shadow is of the motorcycle rider. Think about that. The car driver that's in the white is looking towards the motorcycle rider right into the sun. So a lot of the times we assume that the car drivers aren't paying attention, they don't care, they want to hit us, they want to kill us. At least that's what it feels like. At the end of the day, it's just going to be a combination of mistakes and different things that will contribute to a crash or contribute to a close call. The sun in the eyes, and then the massive amount of traffic, and then on top of that, motorcycle riders are just kind of invisible to car drivers because of the whole inattentional blindness. I'm going to have something pop up on the top right here. Basically, what inattentional blindness means is that somebody's looking at something, but they're not thinking about it and not really seeing it because they're so focused on other things. So this car driver is looking for other cars. They're not looking for motorcycle drivers. So we're going to move forward just a little bit here. Highly congested. Once you start seeing brake lights like this, and the fact that we're, next to a parking lot, next to intersections, you see the blue car here, you see the white car there, you see just people wanting to move around. This is when we need to start to slow down. Let's slow down just a little bit. This is going to just buy us time. I'm not talking about slowing down and let's crawl to a snail pace and that's how we're going to ride every day, all day. No, it's whenever the situation presents itself, we need to slow it down. So in this situation, we really need to have that extra time for either for stopping, for swerving, for us to, anticipate and see. It's a lot like when we're riding around or driving around and we're trying to find a parking spot, we're trying to find a number to the house or something, we turn down the audio. So we just remove one of the senses that is distracting us. So one thing that can distract us while we're riding, or one thing that can really hinder us, is we're going a little bit too fast. We're slowing down looking for that parking spot and the house number. Well, let's slow down and so we can look for the hazards, especially in a congested area. Think of it like that. So we're moving into this area. This vehicle right here, that red vehicle, stopped, just completely stopped. Then now the car behind him has to stop. Why? Is there something in the road? The best thing we can kind of anticipate is if we're doing our scanning, we've already seen that white vehicle perpendicular to us. So quite possibly he's letting somebody in. Now, this is one of those things where car drivers tend to do that all the time. I personally don't do it unless it's safe for me to do so. When I see somebody wanting to merge or come out and do this, I make sure, is there anybody behind me? Is there anybody continually moving? Because I don't want to let somebody in and then they get into a crash. I'd feel highly responsible for that person I just let through, and now for the person they crashed into. So I personally don't let people in unless it's 100% safe to do so and the only hazard is presented to me, not to anybody else. In this situation, you're going to have people doing that anyways. I don't know why they do it, but they just decide that it's helpful. So we have that vehicle stopped. So now we can see that white vehicle. At this point, this should be clued into us that why is their vehicle stopped all of a sudden? So let's slow it down. Now let's cover the brakes and let's get ready. What's going on? What's going on? So open up the view also. So maybe merge a little bit to lane position 1 in this position. That way we can get the best line of sight so we can kind of see around all these vehicles. That is what I would be doing. Slowing down, best line of sight, prepared for something, give myself the biggest space cushion. Because at the end of the day, cars are hazards. Anything that could touch us is a hazard. I try to stay away. They got cooties, you know what I mean? So let's leave them alone. Stay away from me. I'm going to be over here. I'm going to get out of here. That's what I'd be doing. But right here, he does a very good evasive maneuvers. If you noticed, all he had to do was go from lane position 2, 2.5 to just lane position 1. Never slowed down. He possibly just accelerated just a little bit so he can get out of the way. And that's exactly what you want to do. So if this ever happens to you guys, assume that swerving might be the best option. Braking, if you're going at a lower speed, might be good because the total stopping distance might be in your favor. Or you can brake, then swerve, or swerve, then brake. It's up to you. But swerving is definitely going to be one of those things, and you definitely need to have the skill involved to do that. If you don't have the hazard perception at 100%, it could be because you're tired, long day at work, whatever it is, or you just don't have that training because you're not focused on hazard perception, then make it up with actual evasive skills. Make sure you are practicing your skills. That is quantifiable, because what that means is you can go and do it in a parking lot, and if you mess up, then, well, you messed up, but you can keep practicing. So make sure you guys practice your evasive skills. If you want to know more about how to do some type of evasive skills like braking or swerving, I do have all that stuff on the DDFMcrew.com website. I will have the playlist at the end of this video, so you can just go through the playlist. You don't have to leave the YouTube or anything like that, so stick around for that. But very good on that. Now, what I would recommend, just in case something, you know, actually did happen and you actually got hit, is to wear gear. Okay, we see that we have just a t-shirt, no gloves, only a helmet. So basically at the end of the day, it's just the helmet. Let's go ahead and invest in some gear. Now, for the rest of the gear, it's relatively inexpensive compared to the helmet. You know, you can get a helmet for $150 to $200, even, you know, $1,000 plus. So if you can just get some motorcycle gloves for, you know, $50, you can get a jacket for about $150 and pants for about $150, boots, shoes, you can find those for about $100. So invest in that just in case something does happen. You never know. You're not in 100% total control for that. So if your hazard perception is not there, your skills are not there, at least mitigate some of the risk by wearing gear. But your best bet is to practice, practice, practice.
Swerve. It's not a turn. You're not turning. You're not going super far in a curve. You're swerving. Okay? You're trying to just avoid the obstacle in front of you, get back in your lane. So you grab a broom. I want you to just move it to the side. That's it. You notice how my upper body and everything else is staying still? My head is still.